Hello and welcome back to another episode of TÄCHES Teaches. I'm Tash and today I want to show you how to create automatic harmony in the grid. I've got a Polygrid patch open here and first of all I'm going to take a pitches module. I'm going to use this as sort of the master pitch control for what we're doing in here, and I'm going to set this to 4 steps, and I'm also going to turn off the free run when stopped just so we can keep a bit of our sanity. And I'm going to put this to all C notes. Let me just also take an attenuator here, just so I can have a bit more control of the volume. Okay, so if I were to take the output of this pitches module, pop this into the input on the pitch control on the sine wave, turn off pitch pre-chord, which will stop us from being able to control it with the computer keyboard or the musical keyboard, and I'm going to put the pitch modulation amount all the way to 120 steps, semitones. I can now have full pitch control over the sine wave using this pitches module. Fantastic, nothing new there. Let's say for now that I want to create chords within the key of C major. In order to do chords within the key of C major, we're going to have to quantize the notes into the key of C major. So we only want to have notes that are in C major within our chords. We're going to use the quantizer to do such a thing. We're just going to take that just before it goes in. We're going to say any note that we get sent in will then be quantized to the C major scale. So if I put a D in here now, we have a D, but if I put a C sharp, we still have a D, because the C sharp is not in C major, therefore it's pushed upwards. It's important to note as well that any note that is not in the scale will be quantized upwards rather than ever downwards. That will come in quite useful in a second. So let's take first of all a C major 7. Let's take the first chord in C major. And what are the notes in a C major 7? They are a C, E, G and a B. Because there are 4 notes in this chord, we're going to need 4 voices, because as we can see here, you can only pick one note. You can only have one bit of pitch information going into an oscillator. So if we're going to have a C, E, a G and a B, we're going to need a C, E, G and a B sine wave. So let's just duplicate this down so we have 4 voices. I'm going to get rid of this envelope for a sec, and I'm going to, using the option, attach this via a mixer. And let's drag you guys out of the way a little bit. And if I attach the pitch module to all 4 of the quantizers, and we have a listen to what we've got, well, we've obviously still just got a C, and that's because the pitch is being sent the same to all 4 of them. So what we're going to need to do is to take this C coming out of here, and we're going to need to alter the path of all 4 of these. So if we have a C, an E, a G and a B, we're going to need to add to the value coming out of here before it goes into this pitch quantizer. And the way that we can do that is by using a transpose. So if I attach that just before the pitch quantizers, what that will allow us to do is say, take the value coming in, but add X amount to it, quantize that, and then send that to the oscillator. This second voice here, C, E, we need an E. So how many steps is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. If I add 4 semitones to the value, what do we get? Let's just mute these 2 for a second so we can listen to it. We've now got a major third. However, when I said earlier that it will always quantize upwards, if I now take a D, which should be a D minor, D, F, A, we're now getting a D, a G, and that's not what we want an F. So if I try that at 3, we have a D and an F. If I go back down to C, we still have a C and an E, because it doesn't matter whether we use a 3 or a 4, it's always going to push it up into the right spot. So with the pitch correcting in here, we always treat it like a minor chord, because it will be fixed to a major if necessary, but it doesn't work the other way around. So next up we have the 5th, and the 5th is always, whether it's a major or a minor chord, plus 7. We have a C, an E and a G. Let's listen to what we've got. A C major chord. And if I were to take this now, we have a D minor. We have a D, F and an A. Brilliant, let's take that back down to C. Okay, the final voice is the 7th, and the 7 will be a B in this case. So we have a C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we need to go up 11. But in the same fashion, if we want a D, F, A, and a C, we now have a D, F, A, and a D in the D minor. So we'll just leave that at 10. Let's go back down to C again. 10 works just the same as 11, so we'll leave it like that. Brilliant. So what we have now is a diatonic chord machine, where if I then put in an E, we have an E minor 7, D minor 7, C major 7, G major 7, in fact G dominant 7, A minor 7. Fantastic. Okay, let's turn this off for a second. What would be quite nice also is if we could have individual control over the inversions of this. And what an inversion is let's take a C major 7, C, E, G, B. What if we were to make the highest note the lowest note? So we'd have a B, C, E, G. Or invert it down again, we'd have a G, B, C, E. The quality or the sound of a chord varies greatly on the layout of the notes within it. As an example, let's bring the volume up on here again. Oh, there we go. There's our nice C major 7. I realized I didn't actually have the 7 on. Okay, so what if we were to take that 7 and we were to put that down an octave? That would be the same as going up 10 is the same as going down 2. Oh, I think that sounds a lot nicer in this context. So without fucking around with these ones, what I want to do is add another transpose, but this time I'm going to add a transpose to the first voice as well. And let's duplicate that down, oh, it's actually quicker to just do it this way, I think. And I want to be able to now maybe try the third down an octave, so let's just bring that down 12. Ooh, maybe the 5th should go up an octave. Maybe the root should go up an octave. And also what's quite nice is, quite similar to the harmonic that I've got here from Instruo, by fitting things in with this pitch quantizer, if you press notes actually here that aren't in the scale, it still won't be out of key, it will sort of be like a leading chord. So you can have a lot of fun there as well. Okay, so what we could do is we could have a way to move these up and down. So let's take a button here and a modulator out. Oh, in fact, before we get into that, there's one thing I want to point out, and that's the fact that this will work perfectly for a C major, a D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, but once we get to the B diminished chord, you'll see here, isn't quite right. What we would expect from a B diminished chord would be a B, D, F, A. And if I put a B here, we get a B, D, G, A. And that's because the 7th chord is in fact a B minor 7 flat 5. So what we'd want is actually for this to be an F. There we go. That's the chord we're looking for. But by having that off, we start to then fuck around with the other notes. So what we could do to rectify this is we could say, if the pitch coming out of the pitches module is equal to, and let's take a pitch device here, and say if the pitch coming out of the pitch module is equal to B2, like we are here, you can see that depending on what note I play, there's no information coming out until, boom, we now have a B2, which is basically saying, yes, the pitch is equal to B2, therefore, what do you want me to do? And what we're going to want it to do is, with the modulator out, turn off G. And that's quite fantastic now, because you can see that we've now been pushed down to a B, D, F, A. If we go back to C major, boom, now G comes on again. Works perfectly. Fabulous. Let's just attach this up here, get that out of the way. Okay, so what we could do now is to take a button and another modulator out. And we could say when this button is on, shift this up an octave. So put that to 12. If we call this up. Nice, so we've got that going up an octave. We could also have it go down an octave. So let's duplicate this across. Let's make a bit more room for ourselves. Ooh, there we go. So why don't we have also a down? And this down will obviously bring it down 12. And what's handy about using the same transpose is the fact that we can make it go up an octave. We can make it go down an octave. But if they're both on, it's the same as neither of them being on. Because obviously to go up 12 and down 12 is the same as taking 2 steps forward and 2 steps back. Cool, so let's do that for the other voices down here as well. And we'll go up 12 with the first button. And we'll go down 12 with the second button. And we're starting to get quite a lot of different textures and colours in the notes that we're getting, simply because of where we're placing the notes in the scale. Oh, what's going on here? Oh yeah, let's remove that. Remove that. Okay, we'll go down 12 here. So everything's back to normal. And we'll do the last one now. We'll go up 12 and down 12. Really cool. So where might this come in handy? Well, instead of just having these long droning chords, it might be quite cool to use some envelopes again. I know I've just deleted them, but let's take an ADE envelope and we'll attach that to all 4 of these. Oh, swap you out and you out. And what might be quite cool as well is to almost create an arpeggiated pattern. And the way that we're going to do that is, let's make a bit of room for ourselves. In fact, let's just do it up here. We're going to take now a gate, and we'll make 4 instances of the gate. And what we can do is have this gate control the first envelope, this one control the second, this the third, and this the fourth. And if we're to press play now, sounding pretty good. However, what might be nicer is if we had a bit more of a rhythmic difference on some of the voices. So why don't we try and have a pattern a little something like this. Cool. Might be quite nice to bring these all down an octave. We could just do that by, God damn it. Quite nice just by bringing these down to half the ratio. Okay, so what we could do now is we could attach maybe a probability to say that there's a probability of X that this note will play either up or down. And we could also say it could be both up and down, therefore it's the equivalent of being off. So why don't we just bring all of these to something quite reasonable and attach 2 modulator outs. And we'll say you can go up and you can go down. So now, automatically, we're getting a bit more interest there. Let's attach that there. So even though we're just staying on, what chord is this? Even though we're just staying on the F major, we're getting a bit more variation there. Quite cool. Why don't we change this to have a few more notes in it? You can hear that some of these notes are actually changing pitch halfway through the note. And that's because they're not playing on every step, but pitches are changing on every step. They're sort of going, pew! And we can fix that by, let's bring everything over a little bit more. We can use what's called sample and hold to basically say, hold the value that you've just received until X. So if I attach one of these before all of these, we're just going to get C coming through. And what we want this sample and hold to do is to hold the value it's just got, so either up or down or whatever, until it gets another gate input. And for the first voice, we want that to change pitch every time it gets a gate. If I turn that off, it can be quite desirable, but for a bit more cleanliness, we could just attach these. Very cool, and we could just randomize these. And what's nice is we're getting that full, rich, diatonic harmony. And what could be quite cool as well is keeping this going here. We start moving past the need really. Let's attach that to there as well, rather than just going direct here. We can now sort of just add to the pattern. It's like additional. Lovely. Why don't we add a delay? A little bit of delay. Really cool. And obviously this works on any scale as well. So we could do something that isn't even a 7-note scale. We could go for something like, I think this is the Insen Japanese scale. Let's remove these, get something a little darker going on. So this is a 5-note scale. And let's have a listen to what we've got now. This would be a little bit darker. Really lovely. Let's bring those pitches back to C major. And of course we could add more voices to this as well. We could have the 9th. So why don't we do one more of these and bring the pitch out of there. And where are you going? You're going into this transpose module. So what is the 9th in a C major chord is a C, E, G, B, D. So in order to get a D, we're going to need to add, let's go, let's pick a C here. Are we on a C? Certainly hope so. C, E, G, B, and we want this to be a D. So, what's that? 14. Let's do one more gate. Let's bring this to a D now. Really lovely, and you can see how fun this is to create patterns that you wouldn't necessarily do on your own. So let's try also with a random here, maybe picking 8th notes and keep these nice and steady. Get rid of that last voice, it's not necessary. Anyways, I hope this has been fun, and have a play around with it. See what kind of magic you can create harmonically in the grid, and let me know if you find any new cool applications for this. As always, happy Monday and happy creating. Till next time.